Social media land, I am Dr. Brett Spradlin. We are at Divine Design Natural Health, and how loud of a crowd do we have today? Is it crazy? Crazy. Three chirps out of 4 birds and 3 chirps. How does that work out? Come on in, you guys. So without further ado, we're getting started a few minutes late. This is, of course, as you all know, you got the bulletin on this is flu season. Did everybody get the email on that? It's a whole entire season about the flu. So tonight, what we're going to do, does everybody get the joke behind that? Everybody knows flu's not a season. It's an immune problem, right? But it's neat how the media and everything kind of labels it as this big giant problem. We're going to set you free tonight because we're going to give you a whole lot of information on what actually does happen with the flu, how can you avoid it, and what do you do? What do you do to boost your immune system? We'll get into that. And we're going to lay bare on a few things that are going on in the media now, actually maybe 1 or 2 things that are going on in the media now, as well as all of the free tickets that we have for a new documentary coming out. If you're on Facebook and you're watching and you live here in town or in Chattanooga, get a hold of us because there's a new documentary coming out everybody needs to know about. If you have kids, were once a kid, want to have kids, know anybody who wants to have kids, or you work with kids, or at a school or a hospital or a place that has kids going through it at any point in time, you might want to know about this because this is a big deal. And we'll get there in the same avenue of things as we get there every week. We were going to read some testimonials. These are fresh off the presses from 2 weeks ago. So just so you know, what we do here is it's very characteristic of a natural health center. We use all kinds of stuff. Chiropractic is a part of it. Nutrition is a huge part of it. Detoxification, infrared sauna, clinical nutrition, percussion, cold laser, all the stuff. How many of you are patients here? Oh, yeah, even the guys back here. Even the camera guy. What does that tell you about the place? Isn't that great? So the way that we get our results is not just by muscle testing, not just by nutrition, not just by chiropractic. It's from putting all of those things together. If you adjust and address the big structures of the body, then you use laser to stimulate the DNA of human tissue. Then you use detoxification to get the bad substances out, and then you use nutrition to turn the key and get the good substances in. How much room does that leave you to not get better? Very little, as Jane rolls her eyes from the insurmountable math that you'd have to do to figure out that number. So here's how we get those victories, and here's some examples of those victories. Kathy says, I came here to resolve my skin issues. She said I started eating right, taking supplements, and I accidentally lost 25 pounds. What a great side effect. Or warning, great side effect. So you get a lot of side effects coming here, like 25 pounds of rapid weight loss when you just came here to fix your skin. Kind of crazy. And this one continues. I know they're watching. This is hilarious. Besides losing 25 pounds, other things I've lost. My pantry, no need for it. This is hilarious. 7 inches off my waist. Lost size 12 pants. She lost her trips to the drugstore, and she's off all prescription hormones. She lost her need to go to the gynecologist to write hormone prescriptions. She lost her need for Sam's warehouse membership. She lost her need to, she no longer needs to buy bulk food and over-the-counter nose spray, Mucinex, Zyrtec, Zip Fizz. Is that a Zip Fizz B12 drink? I guess I've never heard of that. And peanut butter pretzels, etc. So she lost a lot. So I can't say every time you come here you're going to gain something because you'll lose quite a bit. including 25 pounds. Thank you, Kathy. That's a wonderful testimony. Came in on Tuesday. This is somebody else with the flu. She works around a lot of kids. She's a teacher. The last 2 weeks, we've been running an urgent care center here, a walk-in clinic, and it's been great because even though people are having like a heck of a sore throat or headache or congestion, something like that, they've still got 6 or 8 symptoms getting better. That's how their body works. You've got one symptom that peeks its head through the clouds, but you've got all this other stuff that's been there chronically, getting less and less. Came in on a Tuesday with the flu. I felt congested, weak, ached all over, generally just awful. After 2 visits over the span of 3 days, I felt better enough to go back to work on Friday. My husband ended up getting the flu too, and my recovery time was way quicker. This is not my norm. As well as my symptoms ended much quicker than his. I can't wait to be getting sick less and less as my time continues here. She's a young teacher. She's had a lot of medical mishaps going on. She's missing a few organs. She was on a few meds, and now we're starting to see some turnaround going on with her. And I think she's mid-20s. She's got a lot of stuff going on that should have never really happened with her, but she's coming along in a big way. Next, almost done. Oh, and by the way, we're going to be done right at 7. We're going to get better about being done right at the mark on 7. We're going to shut off the camera and say stuff we can't really say when Facebook is watching and listening. We like to keep it very closed door policy as far as that goes. And then we'll talk about some alarming statistics and other things that you all here need to be in immediate recollection of. Before coming in, here's another one. I constantly felt sluggish and tired. My stomach was irritated on a daily basis. No motivation at all. I feel great. Now here she is afterwards. Or this is a he. I feel great just after a week compared to what I felt like before. I've had 0 stomach issues with other symptoms improving as well. That particular gentleman right there, within 1 week, 9 of his symptoms were improving. And what did we do within that? Yeah, thank you. And I take no credit for that. What did we do? Jane, you know how things work here. What is the only thing that we changed within the first time from when I saw him in the exam to when he comes back for that second visit? What's the only thing that's changed? Well, what they take. What was the one thing? The supplements. Yeah, the one thing, the nutrition, right. Thank you. So the one thing that they changed, the very first thing that we do is here, just take these. We're not asking them to stop anything, not asking them to change anything, not asking them to eat or not eat anything. That very first thing is here. Just take those. For right now, just take those. Are you taking your supplements right now? Wow. What a wonderful pupil. What a wonderful student right here in class. Wow, if I had a camera, I'd zoom in on Brittany right here. Wow, that's great. As I'm talking about it. Couldn't have timed that better. So yeah, that's the one thing we changed. So now your body is getting super nutrient condensed food, and within 5 or 6 days, what does your body do? Boom, drops a bunch of symptoms. It's crazy. I came in to be seen for an 18-day menstrual cycle after being lovingly scolded for not coming in earlier by me. Dr. Brett did an adjustment and gave me some new supplements. That's all we did. She stopped bleeding the next day, or it says I stopped bleeding the next day. Dr. Brett saved me from calling my gyno, which would have undoubtedly led to a lot of unnecessary tests, birth control, hormone replacement. Thank you, Dr. Brett. That was very similar to Kathy losing her gynecologist, unnecessary tests, losing her hormone replacement therapy and all that. Here's another one. Oh, same person, same person. A few days later, I think. Oh, a month earlier. Yeah, same person, a month earlier. Fatigued, no energy, didn't feel like exercising or doing much of anything. The thing I most look forward to each day was going to bed. How many of you have ever been there? Gosh, we're going to change your life. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to change your life. I can't wait. That is a home run right there. That, when somebody comes in and says, I'm fatigued, home run. Bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, bases loaded, grand slam, over the fence, center field, no chance. He can't catch that, no chance, because I know something that your doctors don't know about your fatigue. No energy, didn't feel like exercising. She looked forward to going to bed every day. After 4 months with Divine Design, I'm energetic, and mind you, a lot of this stuff changed, but at the 4-month mark is when we had her write this. I am energetic, I look forward to each day. I actually want to exercise. I felt so good Saturday, I did cartwheels, literally did cartwheels, just to see if I could. I can, but my form needs some work. She's hilarious. She's hilarious. So that being said, I want to, Andrew, you got the, or Austin, you got those all pulled up, those videos? Or yeah, just let me know. I'll talk on here for a minute. There are a few things. Yeah, there's just 3. We're going to play short little videos, and when Andrew gets back in here, just let me know. I want to show you, this here is called The Brain Warrior's Way. This is a quote of Daniel Amen. If many of you know, he's a very prominent brain researcher. He's got the most images of functional MRIs on the planet. In other words, functional MRIs is we put you in an MRI, we poke you, we feed you something, and then we watch what lights up in your brain. So functional MRI means a moving MRI. Daniel Amen has led a team of researchers, or at least has this place, I believe out on the East Coast, that does this, and he is quoting Mark Hyman. So this is a Mark Hyman quote in Daniel Amen's book called The Brain Warrior's Way. Name of the book is Ignite Your Energy and Focus, Attack Illness and Aging, Transform Pain into Purpose. Long name for a book. But The Brain Warrior's Way is the big name. Many physicians say that if you eat a balanced diet, you do not need supplements. Now, this is tying in to what we're talking about as far as the immune system and the flu. The name of this class is If You Build It, They Won't Come. How many of you remember the movie Field of Dreams? Talking about the baseball park. If you build it, they will come, right? In faith, if you build it, they will come. At least if you remember it that way. If you don't remember it that way, stay with me after class and we'll talk to you about that later on. However, if you build it, this, they won't come. I thought that was a kind of interesting little play on words there, because if you build your immune system, what is the only way to win a battle? Think about it. Think about it. You either have very impenetrable defenses that cannot be overwhelmed, or you just have increasingly crazy numbers coming against the fortress, right? Your immune system is the fortress, okay? The bad guys, the flu viruses and the bacteria and the virus and the fungus and the parasite, all these microorganisms, many of which people have a hard time, like we only have anti-parasitic drugs for parasites that we know about. So think about viruses. What does the medical community have for viruses? Well, a lot of antivirals don't work because the body will rid itself of viruses without a problem. So a lot of antivirals, let's say it this way. Medicine has nothing for viruses, so a lot of times we pretend that they're not there. So what kind of battle does that leave you fighting? We pretend they're not there, but it's a very, very, it's a tricky thing, and we'll get into that more as we talk about the flu. But this right here plays into everything we're going to talk about with the flu, because you're not hearing what's going to fix you. Here it is. Many physicians say that if you eat a balanced diet, you do not need supplements. Have you ever heard that before? Okay, check this out. Hey, what are you doing here? Get on in here. Good to see you, buddy. Here's the answer to that question. I'll repeat it. Many physicians say that if you eat a balanced diet, you do not need supplements. If people eat wild, fresh, organic, local, non-genetically modified food grown in virgin mineral and nutrient-rich soils that has not been transported across vast distances and stored for months before being eaten, and work and live outside, breathe only fresh, unpolluted air, drink only pure, clean water, sleep 9 hours a night, move their bodies every day, and are free from chronic stressors and exposure to environmental toxins, then it may be possible that they might not need supplements. So a lot of people say, well, why do people need supplements so much now? How many of you remember Grandma making a bone broth soup? Or how many of you remember canning? How many of you remember doing beets and green beans and the corn from the garden? This is a little document. I'll try not to make you zoom in on this because it's going to shoot light all over the place. I just remembered this at the last minute. But the alarming fact, don't read the bottom yet. I want you to leave the punchline for the bottom. The alarming fact is that foods, fruits, vegetables, and grains, now being raised on millions of acres of land that no longer contains enough of certain needed nutrients are starving us, no matter how much we eat of them. Now read the last line. U.S. Senate document 74-264, what's the year? 1936. So they were admitting, they were showing, the Senate was showing that, you can come on in. They were, yeah, get up here, I'll spit all over you. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. So they were showing, letting us know, in 1936 that the soils were depleted. The soils were depleted because we weren't doing a 7-year cycle. We weren't letting fields lay fallow for the 7th year like we were instructed to do. We were farming it, over-farming it, uber-farming it, super-farming it, and then came the big bad daddy. What happened in the 80s and 90s? What did we start spraying all over everything? Glyphosate, Roundup, among other things. Yeah, herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, all kinds of stuff. So on top of the soil now being completely nutrient depleted, and this is only mentioning fruits, vegetables, and grains. What else are humans supposed to eat? Meat, which we also, what happened in the 80s and 90s, what did we start doing to the meat? Genetic modification, antibiotics, steroids, because most meat is sold by weight. So the more you can sell it for, the more weight you can pack into that pound, you know, if you can raise cattle to 800 pounds, or you feed them bovine growth hormone and you can raise them to, you know, 11 or 1,200 pounds, you're going to get more money for that, for those cattle, right? That doesn't even talk about that here. This is just talking nutrient depleted soil. Wow. Then you fast forward 60, 70 years, right? Huh?
Polluted water.
Polluted water. What did we do in the 50s? We added all kinds of chemicals to the water, you know, one of them primarily. Yeah. Then in the 80s and 90s, we're pumping all kinds of genetically modified organisms, critters that had never been created before. We're combining bacterial, viral, fungal, parasitic DNA with humans, plants, and animals. Yes, humans. And then we're releasing it into the public. We weaponized mosquitoes and ticks. We weaponized insects for weapons of war. And then we sprayed everything and nutrient depleted on nutrient depleted soil. And then we're asking why is everybody sick? Then, that was 1936. Don't forget that. That's huge. Do the math. What is that? 64, 74, 84 years ago? When did people really start experiencing cancer, heart disease, stroke, diabetes? When did you start hearing about it? Do you remember your aunts and uncles, cousins back in the turn of the century? Did you ever have pictures, black and white pictures? They were tall, robust people, lived, worked outside, right? They didn't have air conditioning, right? See where we're going? So that being said, we're ready for that first, should you get a flu shot? Yes. Okay, let me read this for you real quick. Archives of Internal Medicine. This was an article that came out in 2005. Archives of Internal Medicine. Your internal medicine doctors get this article, get this journal in their mailbox at the hospital every month. I promise you. Researchers attempting to quantify the number of lives saved by the flu shot have arrived at 0. That was 15 years ago. So, on top of all that stuff I just told you, people are not eating the foods that they're supposed to eat. They're taking in more chemicals, and then in an attempt to solve a phony problem, we're going to give you more chemicals. So go ahead and roll that. Let's just check this out real quick. Let's see the brainwashing, and then let's see the brainwashing in action.
This has been a bad week for the flu vaccine. Canadian health officials are saying it is such a poor match with the virus that it may give almost no protection to adults. And now new research is showing that receiving a previous year's vaccine could even make you more vulnerable to new strains. A finding that seems to challenge the current public health message to get that flu shot every year. CBC medical columnist Dr. Peter Lynn joins us now to sort out what this means. Sorry, you're on the hot seat today.
This is bad.
Because, you know, it's a debate every year, and public health officials urge Canadians to get that flu shot. now I briefly touched on some of the news. So let's start with the fact that we are hearing that this year's flu strain is just a bad match. The vaccine and the flu that's out there that is really going around now just don't really match.
Yeah, so basically they have to predict which strain is going to come in February because they need that much time to actually make the vaccine. So if I went onto the Flu Watch just to see all the tests that we're getting, so we could see on this graph, if we could pull that up, that basically if you look at the bars, those are all the tests that we've had for the flu across Canada. And you can see it's somewhere between 4,000 and 5,000 tests are done. And that nice pink area, that's the H3. So that's the one that's in the vaccine. So that one would have been covered by the vaccine. All the gray stuff, those shaded areas, those are untypable. In other words, it could be H3, but it could be other strains as well. So as you can see, most of them are of the other strains and not the H3.
As you say, the decision on every year's vaccine has to be made way back in February of the year before, so it's almost a bit of a guessing game. Well, given that we now have this evidence about how ineffective it can be, what does that do to the message then to get that vaccine every year?
Yeah, it's more complicated. And the other thing, it becomes even more complicated because we used to say, even if there's a mismatch, you should get some cross protection.
Right.
You'll get a little bit of benefit. And that's probably still true. But in 2009, a group of BC researchers, they were looking at this. If you got the seasonal flu shot, did it protect you against that pandemic one? And to their surprise, in fact, it increased your risk of getting the pandemic flu, the H1N1.
Right.
And so, therefore, at first, people thought this is just Canada. It's nowhere else in the world. And then what they found was that it was happening in Hong Kong. It was happening in other countries as well. This strange phenomenon where if you get the seasonal flu and a new one comes and hits, you're actually more likely to get the new virus and get infected.
So can we assume that that's the
You should still get it, but it can make you more susceptible to something way, way worse. That's the narrative that always goes. You'll hear it every year. Last year, I think the big narrative was the flu shot was less than 9% effective. And you'll hear that every year. Yet people are still running to get what? Why do they go get the flu shot?
They're deceived that they think you're going to be protected.
They're deceived, yes. Two reasons, two big reasons: fear and money. Fear and free. I like to say the two F's. Okay, let's get the next one ready. I want you to see this, and yes, and I wanted you to see that because the guy right from the very start. Did you hear what he said? He said, "Oh, this is bad. This is bad." Okay, I want you guys to see this too. Check this out. You guys know who this is?
Yes, you can see. Isn't that Morgan? Yeah.
Piers Morgan, yeah. He's a big guy, he's a British guy, had a show on for a while. I'm not even sure if he's on anymore. He just used to be very anti-gun, very anti-liberty, very anti-everything. And I just found this a little while ago, just researching some stuff, and I thought, man, this is absolutely hilarious. Good? Okay, yeah, go for it.
I've been taking my clothes off, not just for Mimi's benefit, although she's rather enjoying it, because I'm about to have my first ever flu shot. And I thought I couldn't get a better guy than you to do it. So the myth about these, and I'm told it's a myth, is that you can actually get flu or flu-like symptoms simply by having the shot. Is that true?
You cannot get the flu from the flu shot because the material is actually dead flu virus.
Okay.
So it cannot cause a problem for you. It's based on whatever virus was present in Southeast Asia a few months ago.
Okay, so that is a myth.
That's a myth.
Okay. You've got a very large
part.
needle.
I love this part.
You're
This
enjoying
is
this,
literally the biggest needle I could find. There are none larger. Please give me a muscle.
Okay.
That's it?
Mate, that's the biggest muscle you've seen for a while.
Look. All right, that's it. That's it. 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
And
blood.
please.
Oh.
Not even bleeding. No blood even, please. I'll give you a Band-Aid so you don't cry.
Okay.
I love,
I mean, it's like a dull ache, really, isn't it? It doesn't really hurt.
It doesn't really hurt, and it's about the size of a mosquito bite.
Should children have them?
It's recommended that after the age of 6 months that we give it to our kids, and frankly, it's much more valuable in the really young and the really old. but it's particularly the older folks who get the flu and then they have heart attacks related to it. They get all kinds of complications related to it. So listen, it's one of those smart things. In life, there are some things that are predictable. There's some things that aren't. This is one of those events that I think can be beneficial with very low side effect. I mean, we've got 130 million of these little vials out there waiting to help people with. Let's take advantage of it.
If I get flu now, I'm coming after you.
I'm here.
The flu, I'm coming after you. Pause that for a minute. And the other thing, too, did you notice that last clip? They showed young people, old people, thin people, big people, college students, homeless people. They showed the gamut of everybody just getting their flu shot. Right here, they do the pan of the older woman sitting there kind of taking it all in, nodding her head, while Dr. Oz, who doesn't vaccinate his own kids, by the way, answers the question, widely known, he doesn't vaccinate his children, answers the question, should we vaccinate kids? It's recommended that we should do this and this and this. He said the flu virus, the flu vaccine is based upon whatever flu was present in Southeast Asia 6 months ago or whatever. What do they call the flu that they're doing? Are they getting the same flu shot over there that we're getting? Are they getting their flu shot from Southeast America? Think about this. When was the last time you heard of a new flu being discovered? What you heard was a flu being discovered in a different geographical location. H1N1, SARS, avian flu, all of this stuff. I won't get into that right now. We'll shut the camera down, and then we'll talk about that later. Last but not least, I just want to show you this one too. 1 week later, though, I could not find this video. This video, I think, does not exist anymore. But 1 week later, after Pierce Morgan got that shot, what happened? Does anybody?
Sick.
Huh?
He got sick.
How did you know that?
I just guessed.
1 week later, Dwight Yoakam was on his show, and he had, Pierce Morgan had this real rough, gruffy voice, and they were talking about guns, because I think Sandy Hook had just happened, or something like that, and Pierce Morgan was talking to Dwight Yoakam, and in kind of jest, Pierce said something like, yeah, I'm sorry about my voice, and he said, what do you think I should do? Dwight Yoakam says, never get another flu shot again. He said, I don't believe in them, I don't do them, and that's exactly what happens. And Pierce just kind of swept it under the rug. Because remember his last words, if I get the flu, I'm coming after you. And you're talking to Dr. Oz, who widely, openly admits he does not vaccinate his children. And I'll show you this shot real quick, or this video real quick. Now, you might remember some of this, but listen to how they phrase it.
They all became the Brady Bunch.
A classic episode of The Brady Bunch is at the center of the nationwide furor over the measles vaccine.
What are you doing home from school? They sent me home. Measles.
In the episode, first broadcast in 1969, all 6 of the Brady kids come down with the measles, and it's no big deal.
A slight temperature, a lot of dots, and a great big smile.
A great big smile.
No school for a few days.
Boy, this is the life, isn't it?
Yeah. If you have to get sick, you sure can't beat the measles.
Anti-vaccination activists have latched on to the 50-year-old episode to show that measles is nothing to worry about and shots aren't necessary. Among them is Del Bigtree, who produced an anti-vaccination documentary.
This shows us where the mindset and the concern of measles was in the 1960s. I could show you movies that talk about measles that do the same thing, cartoons that talked about measles. It wasn't just the Brady Bunch episode, but it really brings home what we thought. These were things that we just said was a part of growing up as children.
And there are Marsha Brady measles memes all over the web, posted by anti-vaccination activists. Now, actress Maureen McCormick, who played Marsha, is expressing anger.
I think it's really wrong when people use people's images today to promote whatever they want to promote. You know, as a mother, my daughter was vaccinated.
Now 62, she points out that she had the measles in real life, and she was much sicker than her TV character. Lloyd Schwartz, son of the show's creator, Sherwood Schwartz, is also speaking out today.
My dad, who created the Brady Bunch, he was a pre-med student, actually, before he ever got into creating TV shows. And if we knew that there was going to be a controversy about this, we never would have done the episode to begin with.
Measles is definitely nothing to laugh at.
Dr. Rajini Raj says it's best not to look to the Brady Bunch for medical advice.
No, definitely not. Measles can be a very complicated disease, and it could even be fatal. So even though they seem to be doing okay, that doesn't necessarily guarantee your child will be okay.
How many of you buy that? Does that make sense? So we'll get to that, but we'll get to more of this flu shot nonsense. But I don't want to land on this for too long. But just get this: if someone did die of measles, if someone does die of measles, and you hear of it on the news, they are going to have other conditions. They were probably on other medications. They're probably on immunosuppressant drugs. There are multiple other factors that could be involved that you may or may not hear about. And for that one person, or for those 3 people, or 6 people, or 12 people, they are going to vaccinate an entire population multiple times for the rest of their lives for a non-lethal disease like chickenpox. You know they're coming out with diarrhea vaccines. You know they're coming out with depression vaccines. You know they're coming out with cancer vaccines. So when all these people say that it's no big deal, yeah, we should just get our vaccines. Measles, mumps, rubella, chickenpox. See, the list goes on and on. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of vaccines in the pipeline right now. So when the mandate does get stamped, you're in line for all of them, whether you like it or not. You can't just pick and choose. It's your blood. Okay, moving on. So, but they're vaccinating the entire population, but you know, who cares? There's too many people. Just kidding. Totally kidding. You got that, right? It's completely, but yeah, we'll shut the cameras down. We'll talk more about that. Alexander Fleming, the one guy who, what did Alexander Fleming do? Anybody? He invented, or he discovered, I should say, penicillin. And he said, back in the day when he discovered penicillin, he said, don't use penicillin, don't use antibiotics to treat colds and flus and infections and things like that. You'll kill people. What's happening right now? You're hearing about all these super bugs, super strains. They're using it as proof of evolution, showing you, look, the bugs evolve and change and morph, and they develop resistance to antimicrobials, right? We'll get into that more later. I don't want to get too deep into that. But if you can just think in your mind, how many of you know people who have died from chickenpox? Measles, mumps, rubella, anybody? But how many of you know people who have suffered an adverse reaction to a drug? How many of you know people who have suffered an adverse reaction to a vaccine? Hands go up. But say that again. How many of you know people who died from measles, mumps, rubella, chickenpox, diarrhea? Anybody die from diarrhea? Depression? Nothing? See, that's where we're going. So what happens here in a few years when the first wave of kids who are non-communicative and don't want to listen to their parents and are too big to be controlled now in their diapers and their helmets, what happens when they do not pay attention to their parents? And now we have an entire generation of kids that need to be taken care of, but they're big enough to beat their parents to death. Now you've traded a completely non-volatile, non-lethal disease for lifelong neurodegeneration, just neurocognitive disabilities. Does that make sense? We'll get there. Senate document, we talked about that. This right here too, think about this. This was before Roundup. This was before the stuff that you're seeing falling out of the skies. This was before anything done to the water, anything done to the food, the plants, the animals. This was before any of that. And now we're putting this on top of it, along with the 5G that we talked about a few weeks ago. How many of you are here for the 5G talk? Yeah, are you still? Somebody said today, that talk a few weeks ago still bugs me out. I think they went back and rewatched it. I can't remember who that was. But I don't mean to bug anybody out about this. But what they meant by that was that made me prepare a few things. That made me think about, yeah, I got to get right with this. I got to figure out how we're going to get around this, because they know that this from 80-something years ago, 90 years ago, almost, yeah, 85 years ago, this together with the food, that together with the air and the water and everything that's in the blood, they know that you've got to be up here, because getting ready for everything that we're about to see rolling out, you've got to be up here. You cannot afford to be down here anymore. Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention this too. Farmers are required to pump back into the soil what 3 minerals?
Magnesium is one of them. Manganese.
close. I remembered, I was going to talk to my brother about this. They call it NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Farmers are required, and I was going to ask my brother's a farmer, very hardworking farmer, knows what's going on. And I was going to ask him more about this, because I find it very interesting that the food that we eat is deficient in, depending on where, 70 to 80 trace minerals, but the only ones that the farmers are required to pump back into the soil, it comes in a powder. It's like lime. It's like not the disease, but like limestone. And the only stuff that they're required to pump back in are NPK. So nitrogen, phosphorus, and K is the chemical symbol for potassium. But the food we eat is deficient in over 70 or 80 trace minerals that we need for sustained health. That's the little thing that we were talking about right there. How do we know? Go to Walmart or go to the State Fair or go to Sam's Club. My story from Sam's Club a couple weeks ago. Go to these places. Do the people look like they're having a good time? They look like they're deficient. They look like they're having a hard time. They're defective. I don't want to say defective, but there are a lot of sick people in the world. This is why. Huh? Depreciated. Yeah, depreciated. Right. Absolutely. Almost. Yeah. Yeah. As like equipment, almost depreciation. Yes. You can see it in their eyes many times. So we just want to build a list here. What weakens your immune system? Throw out some ideas. Anybody? Some of you have been patients here long enough. Be able to rattle these right off. Get more specific.
Sugar.
Okay. Yes. What else?
Chemicals.
What weakens your immune system? Get more specific. Yeah, that's a yes. That's a yes, but yeah, we can get more specific. Yeah, we could say, let's just say food, air, water. Let's lump them all in. Just like what we talked about with the Senate document. Fluoride, chlorine, air. I'm just going to put a picture of an airplane. Everybody knows what that means, I hope. That's just the tip of the iceberg, though.
What about the cell radiation from cell tower?
This is FCL, and this we'll call this GMOs. That's good, yes. Radiation. What hits your immune system? Yes. What else? And here with chemicals, food, air, water, and we can say cosmetics.
Cleaning supplies.
And cleaning supplies. Yep. And we could say here with sugar, we could say additives, preservatives, sweeteners, other chemicals, diet stuff, low sugar, low fat, no fat, that type of stuff. Things that have been modified. That's what I'm looking for. There you go. Yep.
Lowers the immune system.
Medications lower the immune system. Yeah. What were we just talking about there for like the last 40 minutes, 30 minutes that qualifies as a medication? How do we know? Who makes the vaccinations?
Drug companies.
Drug companies. They're not different because they're liquid versus pills. What else? What other medications here? Just prescription meds? Yep. RX and OTC. And if you saw my presentation from, I don't know, I do it once or twice a year, some form of it. I think it's the, maybe the water one, where you get the little fold out from Cleveland Utilities, and it says Hazardous Waste Cleanup Day. It's the little trifold. And it says, if you have this or this in your house, put it by the curb and or bring it to, it's in April, it's every April. Bring it to the curb, or I think it's just bring it to a local depository. I can't remember, but it's a little trifold that comes in your bill. And if you open it up, all those chemical household hazardous wastes that aren't supposed to go in landfills, one of the top things there is medications.
Hey, did you hear that?
What's the funny part about that? medications that aren't supposed to go in landfills, where are they supposed to go? But it's a toxic waste, hazardous waste removal day, little trifold thing that comes in your bill. Yes, go ahead.
Bill Gates, you know he supplies free medications to Africa and all those countries.
Oh yeah.
He don't even vaccinate his own kids.
Right.
He's another one of those, like Dr. House.
Yep. If you look up, I believe it's a TED Talk.
Yes.
I want to say, and God, I can't mention this, but if you think of Bill Gates, all the money in the world, think about this for a minute. All the money in the world, we're going to Africa. We could show them how to farm. We could show them how we could drill water wells. We could take cattle over there, show them how to raise livestock. You know, all these starving villages and this and that. What is the solution for fixing Africa, according to Bill Gates? You just said it. Vaccinations. I wish I was making this up. So we've got the sugar, all the additives to the food, ibuprofen, food, air, water, prolonged stress, cosmetics. What is one big thing that shuts off your immune system that everybody watches at least 6 or 8 hours of a night?
TV.
And if you're not watching 6 or 8 hours of it a night, you're arguing with your friends and family about vaccinations on Facebook. Or about politics or some other worthless crap, right?
Is that kind of like in the same line as stress?
Stress,
or
yeah.
emotional?
What messes with your immune system? Yeah, absolutely. Emotional, anything that causes you fear or anger puts you into a fight or flight. There's the gas pedal. Here's your immune system. That's your parasympathetic nervous system. That's the brake pedal. Here's your sympathetic nervous system. There's the gas pedal. You ever try to have your gas pedal and your brake pedal on at the same, you don't go anywhere. Actually, it's bad for the engine, right? It's a good little analogy to think of this, because your parasympathetic nervous system is your healing, rest and digest, immune system. This is your fight or flight. You're not thinking about fighting off your athlete's foot when you're running from the bear. It's a self-preservation thing. God built your body so that you're thinking, I'm running from this bear. Actually, I don't even have to run faster than the bear. I just got to kick Joe in the shin and run faster than Joe. You're supposed to laugh at that.
Yeah.
So you don't have to think about healing up your fungal infection or your toenail or anything like that when you're running from the bear. You just have to outrun the bear. God knit your body together so awesomely that your body prioritizes what you need to do when you need to do it. So when your parasympathetic nervous system, your brake pedal is on, you're at home, you're sleeping, you're digesting your food. You're chilled out. What do most people do when they're at home eating their food when they're supposed to be chilling out? They're watching CNN. They're watching Piers Morgan get a flu shot by a doctor who doesn't give flu shots to his own kids, and tells you that, well, we recommend it, that they get it, twice a year, 3 times a year, 4 times a year. What if they come with that diarrhea vaccine and they say, well, you know what? In 10 years from now, when they mandate everything, that diarrhea vaccine, we found out, research says, it's better if you do it 10 times a year. What happens? I'm telling you, it's coming. Just get ready for it. Blood transfusions, I'm not even going to get into all this stuff. Operations, minor surgery does not exist. Know this. Blood transfusions, hard, big problem. Don't get one unless you're dying on the floor, unless you're absolutely bleeding out from every orifice. Don't ever do it. Don't give blood. I won't get into that on camera, but I wouldn't do that either. Toxic environments, many people's work environment, things like that. Toxic relationships can be one of these, or it can be maybe somebody you're sitting across the dinner table from, maybe. Yeah.
What about
question?
Rest, sleep?
Well, we're talking about,
Isn't that another one of those that lower your immune system?
That lowers your immune system?
Yeah, if you're not.
If you're not getting enough. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Work environments, chemicals. I was going to show another video, but I don't want to get too far off of this. I'll just give you the nuts and bolts. This one video, and then we're almost done. This one video, I'll show it soon. I think next quarter, oops, I just hit my mic. Next quarter, we're going to do there's going to be a lot of interesting classes. I'm going to teach one on the phenomenon of all the dead and missing doctors that no one seems to know about. I'm going to do one on something called pharmakia, which many people in Cleveland, I am shocked to find out recently that many people, even here in Cleveland, don't know what that means. I'm blown away by that. And it's not calling anybody stupid, it's just we have very different backgrounds here in Cleveland of all the different places that we've all come from. And many people that I found in surveying, the hundreds of people that we treat, many people do not know the meaning, the history, or the origins of that word. And I am going to blow the lid off that thing, and we are going to have a good time. We are also going to talk about some other topics that in healthcare really kind of get the back shelf, or the lower shelf, I should say, in a lot of people's minds. And I do want to talk about this real quick. This is one of those. This is one of those examples. Right now we have, I think, 10 or maybe 12 tickets left. I bought 53, just over 50 tickets for this movie called Vaxxed 2 that's coming up. I take a risk even talking about this sometimes because people will think you're nuts. I don't care, they already do. But I'm the one with the results on the wall out here, and until their doctors have more results than we do here, they can think I'm nuts. That's not, if you're doing your job, I'll just put it this way. If you're getting along with everybody, you're not doing it right. If everybody approves of you, you are not doing something right. So that being said, this whole story of Vaxxed, from cover-up to catastrophe, was a story that came out. Del Bigtree, I told you to notice that name. Del Bigtree was the producer of a show on television called The Doctors, that had the 4 doctors, the daytime show that had the 4 doctors. One was a pediatrician, one was a plastic surgeon, one was an OBGYN, and one was an emergency room guy. And Del Bigtree was the producer on that show until he came across this story, and then he left it, and now he's become a very, very, very vocal pro-science advocate for the anti-vaccine movement. And I hate saying anti-vaccine. I love saying pro-science. I love saying pro-truth. Instead of anti-anything, why can't we be pro-something? Anti just sets you up for insults. But from cover-up to catastrophe, the film they don't want you to see, this was awarded so many film festival awards, it's ridiculous. What happened was this little synopsis. I printed this out. We've been giving this to patients because we bought, like I was saying, just over 50 tickets to hand out to patients. It doesn't matter if they're patients, friends. I don't even care if they come here. I will give you a free ticket to go to this movie, because if you have kids, ever were a kid, want to have kids, or anything, you need to know what's going on. Just like the malarkey that we showed you here, just do a simple search. Do a simple search online, and you tell me if you believe the stuff. So we bought the tickets to go see the sequel to this. This is a movie you cannot buy on Amazon anymore. It's been banned in this country. You have to go to the actual website. You cannot find this on Amazon. Tell me something you can't find on Amazon. I'll wait here. Tell me something else you can't find on Amazon. All I hear is birds chirping. That's what I'm talking about. So if there's something they don't want you to see, there must be something to this. We have this playing out in our lobby right now. This came out in 2015, maybe 2016, and it's the story of this. The movie that we have tickets to is Vaxxed 2. That's next Monday. If you want tickets to go see that movie, there are tickets for you with your name on them here to go to this Vaxxed 2. But we printed this out. This is the synopsis of Vaxxed 1. This is what you're not seeing on the media because you're seeing crap like what I just showed you. This is the synopsis of the movie Vaxxed. In 2013, biologist Dr. Brian Hooker received a call from a senior scientist at the U.S. Center for Disease Control, who led the agency's 2004 study on the measles, mumps, rubella. You would hear it referred to as the MMR vaccine, and its link to autism. The scientist, Dr. William Thompson, confessed that the CDC had omitted crucial data in their final report that revealed a causal relationship between the MMR vaccine and autism. Over several months, now don't think about just autism, think about the learning disabilities, think about the diabetes, think about the asthma, think about the allergies, think about the Asperger's, think about the dyslexia, think about all autism, one thing. Autism spectrum disorder, thousands of things. Don't stop there. Next sentence. Over several months, so you've got, just to reiterate, Brian Hooker gets a call from William Thompson. William Thompson is a head senior scientist for CDC, okay? This guy led the 2004 study in the MMR vaccine that showed causal links to autism. When did you hear about this on the media? You didn't. This was what year? 6 years ago. Who owns the media? Okay. Right? Continuing on. The scientist, William Thompson, confessed that the CDC had omitted crucial data in their final report that revealed a causal relationship between the MMR vaccine and autism. Over several months, Dr. Hooker records the phone calls made to him by Dr. Thompson, who provides the confidential data destroyed by his colleagues at the CDC. Dr. Hooker enlists the help of Dr. Andrew Wakefield, the British gastroenterologist falsely accused of starting the anti-vax movement when he first reported in 1998 that the MMR vaccine may cause autism. 1998, 20 years ago. A British gastroenterologist said there may be a link between autism and the MMR vaccine. He got completely destroyed. So this guy, Dr. Hooker, enlisted Andrew Wakefield's help and said, yo, you've been through this. I need you. Help me. I grew a conscience, and I want you to nurture it. Okay? So he's kind of the father of the anti-vax movement. But I'll tell you, Joe, remind me in a minute. Remind me to tell you who the real father of the anti-vax movement is here in a minute. This will blow your mind. In his ongoing effort to advocate for children's health, Dr. Wakefield directs this documentary examining the evidence behind an appalling cover-up committed by the government agency charged with protecting the health of American citizens. Interviews with pharmaceutical insiders, doctors, politicians, parents of vaccine-injured children reveal an alarming deception that's contributed to the skyrocketing increase of autism and potentially the most catastrophic epidemic of our lifetime. Do you hear my words? Does that make sense? Catastrophic epidemic of our lifetime. Remember all the parents I told you about taking their kids to Sam's Club that are going to be getting their butts kicked in 10 years when they can't control their kids? That's just the ones that you're going to hear about. Vax 2, that's this movie coming out next Monday. Actually, it's already out. It's already out. Vax 2, The People's Truth, is a continuation of the work Polly and the team did on the first movie, Vax. They traveled 50,000 miles in the USA and around the world, interviewing parents and doctors with nothing to gain and everything to lose, and exposing the vaccine injury epidemic. They asked the question on every parent's mind, are vaccines really as safe and effective as we've been told? Limited tickets are available. The showing is December 9th at 7:30. You should sign up at the front desk. Does that make sense? So now it should be brutally, honestly, deceptively clear to you why Dr. Oz does not vaccinate his children and why the flu is just an entire season. Whenever it gets cold. Why do people get the flu? Huh? They're getting hit by this on a daily basis. They're eating crap food.
No nutrition.
They're drinking crap water. No nutrition. They're being made to be fearful. Their insurance is paying them to be killed and murdered and culled early. People always say, well, why do I have to pay to get healthy? I've got insurance. I'm like, why are you in my office? You are here as a result of what your insurance already did to you. They took this organ, that organ, this organ, that organ, gave you a smorgasbord, all-you-can-eat buffet of drugs, got you worse. Now, you think you got a deal because you paid $150,000 in premiums, deductibles, copays over 25 years, $250,000, but you got a $5 copay on your prescription and you think you got a bargain. See how they get you? Crazy. We've all been taught. We've all been hosed. What was I going to ask you? Tell me.
Who's the father of?
I just wanted to see if you'd remember. Anybody remember I told this a couple classes ago, and I was shocked at the response because I thought everybody knows this. It's like the pharmakia thing. I just think everybody knows this, but they don't. So here's the deal. 1915, 1916, Marie Gruel, I want to say was her name, a young girl, 9, 10, 11 years old, dies of a smallpox vaccination, and, Marcel Gruel was the man's name. His daughter, Anne Gruel, dies shortly after a smallpox vaccination around about 1915, 1916, about 100 years ago. He creates a doll resembling her with X's for eyes and the body's limp to recreate the flaccid paralysis of what happened to his daughter after the vaccine. This is 100 years ago, smallpox vaccine, whole 9 yards. Name the doll. Raggedy Ann. Raggedy Ann with the X's for eyes. I was shocked. I thought everybody knew this, and it's just been lingering in the back of my mind. The first time I heard this, I thought, what? There was a cartoon about that. You gotta be kidding me. Raggedy Ann and Andy. Yeah. And I thought, God, I forgot all about that. People need to know about this. It was a symbol of his daughter's death. That's why she had X's for eyes. She was dead. The flaccid paralysis that happens, that's on the vaccine inserts, can include side effects, can include paralysis. Flaccid paralysis means you can't contract your muscles. Your muscles are flaccid. Sometimes paralysis is just they're rigid. Flaccid paralysis means you're not going anywhere. So you could shake her, right? So the father, the real father of the anti-vaccine pro-science movement, his name would be Marcel Gruel. Little known fact there. And the Raggedy Ann doll was a symbol of the anti-vaccination movement back then. Yeah. So questions real quick before we sign off Facebook. What is the, well, here's the deal. What do we do to beat this? How do you get rid of this? How do you get rid of this?
Eliminate as much of that stuff as you can.
Yep, eliminate as much of it as you can, and try to limit your exposure to as much of it. And when you're not working on that, try to get it out of you as fast as possible via everything we do here at Natural Health, of course. Natural health. What does that mean? Chiropractic. If you adjust, can your body release some of those toxins? Yes. Nutrition. Can your body live without nutrition? Ask any hospital. What about detoxification? And what about laser? Laser is known to release toxins from your cells. It's also known to stimulate the DNA within your cells so that your cells can heal. So that's a double whammy right there. Good whammy. Nutrition gets good stuff in. Detox gets bad stuff out. There's three different ways here that we do it. Nutritional detox, that's a 21-day thing. And then we do saunas, and then we do foot spas. This is a way to stimulate foot spas. That's a way to stimulate your internal organs. And this is a way, infrared saunas, that's a way to stimulate your whole body. Most people do not sweat anymore. Remember, I talked about, great-grandparents and grandparents. They used to live outside, work outside. Nobody sweats anymore. They live inside in the air conditioning, and they complain about it getting too hot most times. So we've got the triple whammy here for detox. A lot of things, too, we're going to get rolled out after the new year that I can't divulge quite yet, but we're going to be a Mecca, or I should say a Jerusalem, for heavy-duty rock and roll detox. And yeah, why is it always called Mecca? Why can't it be called a Jerusalem? Yeah, right? So nutrition is the biggest thing. If you are not getting your defenses up here, the flu is the least of your worries, okay? Your body can clear a flu a couple days. People who come here, you get a flu, you get a cold, you get food poisoning, you get salmonella, something like that. It lasts maybe a day, maybe an afternoon, and most people are back up swinging for the fences in a day or two. Say, man, that flu would have taken me down for, a week or two. I'd had to call off work. It lasted 2 days. And it was over the weekend. Perfect. Great. See, your body, when you work with it, with all of this stuff, your body knows. Somebody's finally listening. So, questions before we sign off.
What's
Yes.
the difference
That's a good question. There's dry saunas and then there's wet saunas. So wet saunas, you're dealing with wet steam, you're dealing with water, you're dealing with mud, puddles and things like that can happen, and you're dealing with inhaling wet stuff. This is an infrared sauna. So there's far, near, and infrared wavelengths of heat. So it's more like warming you from the inside rather than from the outside with steam heat. So a lot of people, I call this, I like to make the analogy. It's kind of like, this is Phoenix, Arizona, whereas the steam heat saunas are kind of like Miami, Florida. It's there's that discomfort of wet humidity heat versus that dry, clean, I can function in this. It's hot, but I can function in this. So they're similar, but there's a lot less negatives to it. And this is, it's heating you from the inside out rather than the outside in. That's the big nugget. Does that make sense? Infrared wavelengths. Anything else? And everybody needs to know, we have specials on saunas, foot spas, buy 4, get 1 till Christmas. All books, if you've been a patient here, in those 3 books that you get, Food to the Rescue, Be Healthy Now, Missing Piece, those 3 books that you read when you're on your first care plan, those are buy 3, get 1 free, I believe. Somebody tell me if I'm saying this wrong. R2Ls, the devices that go on the back of your tablet or phone, little R2Ls, that are radiation to light devices we do, that is a way to get rid of the radiation that we mentioned from the 5G and EMF. That's a way to attenuate or to at least limit some of that. We also have EMF neutralizers that we rolled out a few weeks ago. You buy an EMF neutralizer, you get an R2L. What are other deals? Am I leaving anything out? Oh, and Gifts of Health. If anybody, Gifts of Health? Yeah, I just got it. Gifts of Health, if anybody tells somebody, wants to tell someone, a friend, a family, a coworker, family member about what we do, we give you Gift of Health, you give that to them, and then if they come on board, you get $50. You can practically go here for free. It's crazy deals. Crazy deals. So those are some of the deals that we're rolling out right now. It's a wonderful thing to do. I recommend people do at least get adjusted once a month, once every 2 to 6 weeks is what most people do. But for the winter times, if you're not doing something to accelerate this right here and to up your nutritional level, I should say, you can't do one without the other. Good stuff in, bad stuff out. You do too much good stuff in, you'll never get all the bad stuff out. So you have to do it in unison. I recommend to people, you should be doing a detox, and that means a sauna or a foot spa, some kind of way to get all of this crap out of your body from the chemicals, the cosmetics, the air pollution, the water, the food. You should be doing something like that at least once a month, at least. One little nugget I'll drop and then we'll sign off too. In doing all my research a few weeks ago for the 5G EMF class that we did, that was kind of horribly informational to all of us. In doing all the information on that, I'll tell this story again because it's so mind-blowing. One of the scientists, the PhD level scientist that had studied all this 5G EMF stuff, was being asked, well, yeah, okay, we've got all this bad news. The birds are going to die, the bees are going to die, the people are going to die. What are we going to do? And the guy said, well, we've discovered this little herb that, helps to detoxify. And I'm like, check, got it. He said, we've discovered this, meditative and, spiritual health, check, got it. And then he said, and we also discovered this little device that is able to extract aluminum from the body. When you hear aluminum, think Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and autism. A device that's able to extract 600 to 900% more aluminum from the brain measurable via urinalysis. And the guy on the interviewer is like, what do you call this thing? He said, I believe they're called ionic detoxification foot baths. 600 to 900%. And so I said, check. 600 to 900% aluminum out through urinalysis. Unbelievable. I was like, wow. I knew they worked. You can feel it. I didn't know they worked like that. 600 to 900%, 1,000% higher rates of aluminum coming out of your brain. Are you out of your mind? Find something else that will do that. Nutrition can't do that. Nothing. That's groundbreaking. This guy's a PhD level research scientist that's one of the top guys on 5G EMF radiation. And he said, he just mentioned it flippantly, like, yeah, I just discovered this thing. But yeah, we figured it out. It's pulling crap out of your body that we've never seen before. It's crazy. Anything else? I'm glad we talked about the deals. Questions, comments, concerns? We got giveaways. All right. Facebook, 2 weeks, December 16th, we've got why purify, why detoxify. We're going to be talking about exactly some of those things that we just talked about. Why do you want to purify? Why do you want to detoxify? In other words, why do you want to purify your body? And why do you want to detoxify, get the bad stuff out? And then simple, easy ways to do it at home and here. And we're going to do that December 16th. And we will see you then. And everybody give social media a big ol' round of applause. Thank you so much. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Oh, and we've got a Vitamix.